Hi, so today we'll be looking at topic B, where we're wondering why a hotel is still operating during its slow season, even though the revenue that it's making can't possibly cover its average total cost. So, to solve this problem, we have to understand the ideas of average fixed cost and average variable costs and how those apply in the short term as opposed to the long term, because in the long term, there is no such thing as fixed costs. Everything's a variable cost. So we're just looking at this in the short term. Now, the difference between a fixed cost and a variable cost would be that a fixed cost is not something you can easily change. So a fixed cost would be the cost of the building, right? The cost of the property, the cost of a computer, right? All of these are big and you can't immediately change them. Whereas a variable cost would be the wages that you're paying your employees. You can pay them more or less, and that's in your control. Or you could cut back on the number of employees that you have, which would be an easy way to save yourself from variable costs. Now, the idea you have to understand to solve this problem and why the hotel would stay open during slow season is that it's really easy for them to just cut back on their variable costs. They're probably just not using as many employees during the slow season, or they let them go home early, give them less hours, all to cut down on average variable cost, because that will in turn reduce your average total cost. And when your average total cost is reduced, then your revenue will be able to cover the average total cost. And that's great. That's awesome, which means you're making a profit. Now, another business that would be using another example of a model where a business is still operating during the slow season, even though they can't cover all of their costs, would be just a restaurant, right? The restaurant I work at, right now, it's getting slower because it's colder and people don't want to go outside as much, but they'll still keep the same amount of people working. They just cut people a bit earlier so they don't give them the full 8 hours. And that's one way that businesses would be able to just keep operating during a slower pace.